Welcome to Through the Lens of Astrology. I'm your host, Heather Arielle, and we are celebrating the spring equinox this week. It's so important. I talk about how significant each equinox and each solstice is because it not only brings in a new zodiac sign, it brings in a whole new season. And the spring equinox, well, because it brings in Aries, is especially significant because the Western zodiac begins with Aries energy. There's a lot of talk of like, are there 12 signs? Are there 13 signs? Astrology. What's Western astrology? Because the planets keep moving and wow, it's like it doesn't matter what was going on 26,000 years ago. Okay. Western astrology is seasonal. Okay. So the first day of spring gets everything going. All right. And if you want to read more about that, you can look up Stephen Forrest and he's written so eloquently on this topic. Okay. So I won't go into it, but it's seasonal. So trust me, if you're going to go with Western astrology, this is a big deal. All right. Aries energy. It is the energy of fire. It is the energy, it's the fastest moving energy in the zodiac. So generally, things pick up. The pace picks up, and we feel like either we feel like doing things faster, or it's like things start happening a little bit faster. So we're going to celebrate this energy, try to rejuvenate with this energy. I have an oracle a card spread to help us connect with this very powerful transitional energy shift. Okay. So we can like make it work for us in a personal and practical way because yeah, that's what I'm all about. And we still have Aquarius energy, right? So that just means the sun is in Aries, right? Now, next week we have a beautiful new moon in Aries coming up. Okay. Well, pretty soon. So, we're going to, for the next couple of weeks, really explore and celebrate this energy. But we still have our love planets, Venus and Mars are still in Aquarius. And remember, we got the age of Aquarius, we got Saturn in Aquarius, and that's a major path to be taking, right? So we want to be combining those energies because that's what it's about. How can we make the energy work for us? So how can we combine Aries and Aquarius? And guess what? It's pretty easy because Aries is fire, Aquarius is air. And think about what air does to fire. Woo, makes it grow, right? And spring is all about how to make things grow anyway, right? And how to make things blossom, right? And we always think become beautiful. The flowers, I walk a lot and I'm like, all the flowers are starting to bloom and I'm like touching all of them. It's like appreciating the beauty in them. So how can we make those energies work together, which do really complement each other? And then we have Mercury in sensitive Pisces, which is getting ready to go into Aries, but we still have Jupiter in Pisces, which loves to be in Pisces. So we still have that sensitive energy that is unifying, right? And represents the highest levels of consciousness. So we always want to be guided. Let Pisces guide us to say, okay, make sure we're doing something wonderful. And then the Aries is like, well, make sure we're doing something because Aries is action. Okay. It's connected to Mars and it is about doing things. The fire element in general, when energy's in a fire sign, we want to do things and take action. Aries, especially. Okay. And it's also, we have something called we have Aries points in Western astrology. So obviously the first day of spring is, an Aries point is a really major one. But the beginning of each cardinal sign, that's why the beginning, you take a solstice, you take an equinox, you take Cancer, you take Libra, you take Capricorn. The beginning of each one of those is an Aries point, and it's a concentration of energy that it's cardinal energy. That's the modality. It is the energy of individual initiative, a forward momentum. Okay. And I'll get I should have pulled out the cardinal card, but I'll pull that out. And it's, the cardinal card. You're going to make it. You're going to make it after all. It's the Mary Tyler Moore song written by Sonny Curtis. And there was a wonderful Morocco did a wonderful interview with that songwriter, and it just reminded me, yeah, I'm using one of his songs to inspire us. It's like we're gonna make it. And there's a beautiful thing about Mary Tyler Moore. It was about being self-reliant and independent and believing in yourself that you can do it. It's that individual initiative. You can still have partners and you can still have a team and do things together, but that means that there's a leader generally, because Aries is, I have a pioneering idea. Let's do this pioneering. It's finding new ways of doing something old. Okay. So it's, it blends beautifully in with Aquarius reform energy that I talk a lot about. And I'm going to talk about, I'm sure everybody's been following everything that's been going on with Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's got asked a lot of questions by Congress this week. And so we're going to talk about, she's she's gonna become the next Supreme Court justice. So and it's beautiful because we get to see issues of reform, issues of systemic racism are being highlighted, systemic sexism are being highlighted with a lot of the events that have gone on over this past week. That is Aquarius. And then when you bring in Aries, it's, well, let's really, Aquarius is unique reform, but Aries is finding new ways to reform. So when you combine those, and it also inspires you to take the action, because sometimes air, we think about doing something but we don't do it, and Aries is like, yeah, let's do it. I really love the combo. I've talked about this. I've had my I've had an artist and my collaborator, one of my collaborators, Tom Gualtieri, on the show. And we did a show. I've talked about it. You can check out those episodes. Um, uh, we did that play, which is a version of Macbeth, okay, Shakespeare's Macbeth. And we did several runs of it. And whenever we would begin a run, I got to choose, when we did it. And I always chose that either had an Aries sun with an Aquarius moon, or an Aquarius sun with an Aries moon. And it combines, because remember, anytime you do an event, such as a production, a theater production of a show, or a business chart. I talked about my business chart last week, the chart for through the lens of astrology. Okay. Whenever, you do that, it's like when you begin that each time, it contains some energy. It's like, what is the energy you really want to be part of that? And so the show that Tom and I did, it was not your mother Shakespeare, as they say. So it was finding a new way to do something that was very familiar. Think of Bertolt Brecht. It's a completely new way of doing something, is waking something up, taking something familiar, making it unfamiliar. That's Aries, finding a new way to do something old. And then Aquarius is just, whoa, a unique approach. And Tom played all the parts. He was Macbeth, he was Lady Macbeth, he was everybody. Okay. So, I love those energy together. So it's like, let us celebrate and allow this energy to inspire us to be not only our most original self, but to have the energy to take actions, to implement our original, unique ideas, right? So they don't just stay ideas, right? So we really take that active reform. And Aries is also, I talk about this a lot, it is fearless energy. So we always want to be at our most fearless when Aries energy is in play. And it's kind of the energy, it's fighting energy. Mars is warrior energy. So yeah, it's warrior energy. So I always say, well, it increases your desire to want to fight. So let's make sure we're fighting for something or for someone, and not with something or with someone. It's like we try to keep it positive, and sometimes you do have to fight with someone, but let's remember why we're doing it. It's for, hopefully, a bigger reason, or for someone, and let that guide how we fight, so that it's more of like, I've got the energy to stand up for what's right. Right. And I have that. So it's, it's kind of a, so think about if you have, I like to take Venus and Mars through the different houses. And so I am going to try to take Venus and Mars through a couple houses today as well, because I've been doing a couple houses each week. Now, those are in Aquarius. And so you always want to know, look at your chart. where planets are activating. So with the sun in Aries, and then we're going to have the new moon, in the next couple of weeks, you do want to think about, well, what house, right, is represented? What area of experience? Because remember, each house is an area of experience. And wherever it is, you're going to want to be a little more fearless in that area. And you may even have a desire to be a little more aggressive. So say you're Libra rising, that puts Aries on your descendant. Okay. That's how you deal with people. That's even like those are one-on-one relationships. And that can even be, that often involves a serious romantic relationship represented. And so you can look at that and say, well, that's you may want to compete with your partners. You may want to, so that's why I say make sure that you're fighting for your partner and not with your partner. And then like go play tennis. Like you can have fun ways to compete with each other. Okay. And where there can be a winner, because Aries does often like a winner. But it doesn't have to be over, try to do the compromise and negotiating when it comes to important things, right? Of how like your home and things like that. And then use that competitive drive in sports or things like that, where it doesn't really matter who wins, right? But yet you get to you get satisfaction without destroying your relationship. Yeah. And I just saw a great movie, King Richard, and it's about the father of the Williams sisters and Venus and Serena, and it's just and it's really was beautiful seeing how do you channel the desire to compete, and there's obviously playing tennis and becoming the best, but also being a balanced person, and also having time to learn several languages, and just there was a beautiful balance combined with um, extreme ambition in that. So that was, that's kind of combining Libra and Aries energy. So anyway, yeah, find healthy ways to compete with Aries energy, because it just kind of like, oh, we want to, it's very assertive energy. Let's use it. Let's use it for good. And it is so fast moving. We also don't want to burn ourselves up because it is fire. And it's so fast. Sometimes we can want to do too much too soon. So we also want to be patient. Patience is a virtue. And when I was, shuffling, I was preparing the cards because we're going to do our oracle spread to try to bring in that Aries energy. I'll tell you, the Aries card popped out, but it did pop out reverse. But, we take the whole meaning. But when we reverse the card, it's patience is a virtue. And so we want to connect to our most pioneering visionary plans. Yeah. And we want to go forward with them. But we also want to be patient that we don't go forward so fast we trample over anyone, right? And that we don't burn ourselves. We don't burn up, right? Because it's fire. You can get exhausted, right? So we want to pace ourselves. So hopefully, yeah, we're going to bring in very rejuvenating energy with our spread. Okay, so now, all right. And, if you're following along, if you've missed any episodes, please check out my Facebook, Heather Arielle's House of Astrology. If you're watching my video, please like and subscribe. It helps to get the word out. And on the radio, Beacon of Light Radio. Okay, and I'm going to, be referencing my planner. I have an Astro planner, an activity book, and my Oracle card that here. I developed this Oracle card with this Oracle card set with artist Tom Cummins. Yeah, there are a lot of Toms in my life. This beautiful artwork. Look at that. This is a very invigorating Aries image. Yeah, and you can get these on Amazon. You can get these on my websites and on my social media. Okay. So we're going to look at today. I was very inspired, and I'll tell you because, yeah, the news is very serious, and it's very easy to become a little hopeless, right? And it was so nice. I saw David Ignatius on Morning Joe today, just a couple hours ago, and he was saying, I'm actually a little inspired, even though all hell is breaking loose, right? And I think it's really important that let Aries give us that momentum. Aries is momentum. Okay. When everyone else is like, petering out and they're like, oh my gosh, Aries is like, ooh, a second wind. We can do it. All right. So everything this show is about, this week is let's really do everything we can to connect to that and inspire us, right? That we can be beautiful agents of change. All right. And yeah, reclaim our agency. That's even, I built that into the Oracle spread. I saw, oh yeah, okay, Dr. Sue Varma. Yeah, I had to write that down to remember. But I was watching Chris Jansen, and she had Dr. Sue Varma on, a psychiatrist, and she was just saying, when you don't feel empowered, when you've suffered trauma, and just, I mean, everything the world is going through, everything the country's been through, whatever level of trauma you have, we can become a little disempowered, right? We all have to suffer those power plays, and we always need to be reclaiming our agency, right? And how can we do that, right? Aries energy is fantastic for that because it's independent, it's self-reliant, it's individual initiative, it's that, and it gives us the energy to do something, to then make the Aquarius reform energy that we got going right now doable. So I built that into the oracle card spread. So let's work to reclaim our agency and keep hope alive. that yeah, that we could do, you know, lots of wonderful things. So, and be like the Energizer Bunny. Yeah. Okay, keep going. It's like, yeah, it puts the Energizer into the bunny, that's for sure. Yeah. The Aries is the battery that's like, whoop, whoop, okay, let's go. Some things that, you know, I was thinking about I'm always talking about the nuance and duality of astrology, right? Of like, let's look at the layers. It's like, let's embrace what's going on right now, but you can always go deeper, right? So, like, look in your chart, find where Aries is, right? Whatever house it's on, and know that the sun is illuminating that area. And it's a little bit easier when the sun illuminates something. It brings it into consciousness. That's what the sun represents in astrology. It's our consciousness. Okay. The moon is what is least conscious. So allow that area to be illuminated, whatever house that's on. If it's on, as I said, your descendant, allow it to illuminate all of your one-on-one relationships. Okay. And allow that energy to, fight for your partner and do, to really inspire you. Now, um, when I was, Ketanji Brown Jackson, when you really listen to her, she really captures. I felt even a lot of the discussion, even though there are always some questions that you're like, oh my gosh, really? But you know what? It's actually more civil than I think what a lot of them have been. Well, a lot of the hearings have been like, and I think a lot of the nuance and duality of law has come through, at least for me, because I'm not a lawyer. And I just love that, if you look up and you replay some of it, it's really, she makes it so clear that the laws, we always have to be reminded that the laws are made, right? Congress makes the laws, the president enforces them, and then in the Supreme Court interprets them. And so a lot of the questions that were being asked about her interpretation, and like, why did you give this many years? Why didn't you give that many? And she would always answer, well, you made the guidelines. It's like, I didn't make the guidelines. You made the guidelines. So it's up to me to interpret them. And so it's like, it's really fascinating that we have to remember that if we don't like how judges are interpreting things, let that inspire us to then reform the law, right? Because it all starts with the law. Like, they got to make the laws, they're enforced, they're interpreted. We don't like them. Okay. Well, that wasn't clear. Oh gosh, look what happened. Let's reform. Okay. We're good. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. Beautiful Aries Aquarius themes. Beautiful to really think about how that all works and what we have to do. And yeah, and so I just was very inspired about all that, because it turned out, what she was being criticized for, that she was really in alignment with what 70 to 80% of other judges were doing. That 70 to 80% of judges were interpreting the guidelines the same way. So, but I just thought it's really good to remember that, because it inspires us to be active, right? To say, oh, we got to make a part. If we don't like what's going on, well, then we gotta go back to those guidelines, right? And then because Stephen Breyer, he talked about, it's an experiment, isn't it? It's a great experiment, but it's an experiment. And I think he was implying the interpretation level, right? And that we just forget that. So I really have been I enjoyed listening, because I learned a lot, and I just thought, okay, that's really nice. The whole, you know, and then when I just saw a moment of this, so I didn't see the whole thing, but just seeing a moment, I was just watching, they played a clip on the news that Cory Booker, who's always very empathetic, um, just basically pointed out the weight of what's going on. and of that, and that this is such a big deal, right? And it was, and just in that brief clip I saw, I was so moved. And so I think, like, we got to really celebrate what's going on, that, it's such a big deal. And Aries is about being the first too. So it's like the first, African American woman on the court. Wow. That's so Aries. That's great. And we just have to always come back to celebrating that. Um, yeah, so there's a lot. And and I don't even know, maybe I've already mentioned this, but and I thought a lot about bell hooks because she's always talking about at the intersection of sex and race, right? And so that issue is really highlighted of, we can't forget there's just systemic racism and systemic sexism, and it takes such consciousness on our part to really overcome that. And some things that I've been thinking about, I wonder a lot. I'm a very curious person. And I've been thinking recently about Ahmed Arbery because, he was basically killed because he was curious and he looked into a place that was being built. And he was like, oh, let me check this out. It's like what I do all the time. I'm like, oh, what's over there? What's going on over there? Oh, yeah, what's this? Oh, what's going on over there? Because I'm a curious person. And I was thinking, I was like, this is really dangerous, for this is what got him killed. What I do every day. Now women have to be careful too, okay? But in a different way. But I just, we have to be so conscious constantly of these issues because they're so in play, right? And and then we have to be, where, because it's like, because I'm in this white body and so I'm doing things, and you just don't, you have to be constantly reminded. And I saw an interview with Sandra Bullock. I think it was on CBS Sunday morning, and she's the mother of Black children, and she said, it's amazing being a mother of Black children. That, like, not only are you worried about your children, right, but now she's like, oh my gosh, you're worried because they're Black, and all these extra things can happen to them because of that. And I was so moved by that, and I just thought, boy, do we just always have to, because we're so, no matter, it's like we have our cultural imprint. It is so strong. It is with us. And we have to remember that. That's why we have to, I talk about it a lot. And it's, hey, age of Aquarius, Saturn Aquarius. I am supposed to be astrologically talking about it because it is connected to Aquarius energy and to Uranus. And especially with Saturn and Aquarius, it's a special moment where it's a little bit easier for us to address it in a way that is really creative and productive, and can move the needle a little bit, and so it's like, to think about, I saw Kenneth Branagh's movie, okay, Belfast, and this wasn't even in the movie. Oh, this is so funny. Okay, but it was like he was visiting Belfast, and as he was walking, they showed us, it's like a little bonus clip, and the characters in the movie were walking beside him, okay, and I was so moved by that. And I just thought it was a visualization of what a cultural imprint is. I talk about it all the time, but that's what the cultural imprint looks like. Okay. So that's why we all have to go back to what is our earliest experiences, because they're standing right there, and they're standing right there, whether we can see them or not. Now that's kind of goes into Cancer energy. It's a little bit easier for certain energies to see them because the past is the present with Cancer energy, or maybe you have a strong moon and you're like, oh, there they are, there they are. Okay. Or even Pluto, that can bring in some transformational experiences. And I think of the Haim song, um, Summer Girl. There's a beautiful line. It's walk beside me, not behind me. Walk beside me, not behind me. I love that. And that's what, whether we like it or not, our cultural imprint is walking beside us, not behind us. Right. And so, you know, we just always have to remember that. And we have to constantly, because even with me, it's like, here I am checking all these places out. And I'm like, oh, I have to remember my own cultural imprint. Sometimes I forget that, oh, well, if I were Black, that I'd get into a lot of trouble right now, you know, even as aware as I am, because of, we've all got our thing. And just to kind of segue a little bit into Madeleine Albright, And then I'll talk more about her a little bit later. I always, oh my gosh, I loved her so much because that was, I was very young. I mean, I was young in a very exciting way when the Clintons, you know, uh, took over. And so it was very exciting. And I was like, oh, Madeleine Albright, first female, Secretary of State. I was really always into that. And she was just talking, and she didn't always know that she was Jewish. Okay. She didn't always know that she had not only, I mean, obviously she's an immigrant. She was an immigrant and a refugee from Czech Republic, from Czechoslovakia. But she found out later in life that she had dozens dozens of relatives killed in concentration camps. And I just thought, that's her cultural imprint. And she said how much that moved her. And she said, well, she already had a rich history, right? That just was like, whoa, added a lot of horror, right, to her cultural imprint that then she had to incorporate. And that's the kind of thing. It's like, so it can happen. We think that, oh, it's a done deal in our first couple of years. No, because there's always new information coming in about the people who we thought we knew, right? That's informing us and influencing us. And so we always have to be rechecking in about, well, who do we think they are? Oh, they're not exactly who we thought. Okay, that's going to now influence who we are, right? And we have to incorporate that. So it's why, so we always have to kind of, and that's the benefit of some transits. You have a big Plutonian transit. That's the transformation. That's why I say astrology is a beautiful transformation tool, because through transits and progressions, it allows us to go a little bit deeper into who we are through taking another look at our earliest experiences and figuring, okay, oh, how is this influence? And I was like, okay, all right. So that just, yeah, that made me think of that with Madeleine Albright. And also with the power plays going on and with the restrictions and things like that and issues of freedom. We talk so much about freedom, and it's on this show, and the Sagittarius ascendant that the America has. And, Madeleine Albright was all about freedom and how we can feel free. And I only just learned that the word freedom comes from the word beloved. I think that was from Sebastian Unger I saw, and that must have been Morning Joe. But he said, the origin of freedom is beloved. And I have often quoted um, from the Limey, the character Wilson, the Steven Soderbergh movie. And he sings a whole song about when did he feel most loved? When he felt free. And that's like combined in the origin of the word. So words matter, how important it is, how we talk about things, right? So I use the terms, you can let me know, it's like, let me know if cultural imprint, you're like, well, what does that mean? Do you have another term? What's the term you use for what I describe? Like, let me know, because we need to get the right words to capture all of this, right? So then we can reach our highest levels of joy and of growth, right? And of transformation. But yeah. And well, you know what? I'll save, there's something I'm going to quote from Madeleine Albright, but I'm going to save that for, a little bit later because I love it. She was known for what, as Mika Brzezinski described, that, I mean, it's fantastic and humanitarian, but blunt. And I love that. She's one of the best quotes ever. It's like, she's straight talk, like the Dolly Parton movie. It's like, just tell it how it is. That's how she was. So I loved it. But okay, we'll talk a little bit more about her later. Let's do a little bit of this spread. Let's bring in some beautiful Aries energy, and then we can, here we go. Yeah. And then we can maybe, look a little bit more into those topics. Yeah. And often the oracle messages they inspire this. Okay. Because everything's filtered through what's going on in the astrology and that. So, all right. Let's just bring in the first card. We're going to pick 3 cards and then 3 more cards and then 2 cards. Okay. So if we embrace this energy, it's going to help us as a group be fearless. And if you're listening to Through the Lens of Astrology, guess what? Yeah, you're part of the group. Yeah. Whether you like what I'm saying or not, You're part of it. Yeah, that's how that works. So these messages are for you, just as they are for me. All right. Because I'm part of the group, I'm not above it. So if we embrace this message, it's going to help us be a little bit more fearless. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And, just thinking it's like, another big thing about the reform issue and the humanitarian side of Ketanji Brown Jackson, um, when Neil Katyal was on, and he's represented several people. I can't remember how many people he said, but a lot of people from Guantanamo. And he thinks it's really important. Everybody's, yeah, you can't just get lost in a black hole, right? And he was really saying, get ready, because you're going to have gravitas and brilliance from her. And he was right. It was real profound gravitas and absolute brilliance. And she represented somebody from some Guantanamo, which she got some critical questions about that. But everybody deserves representation, man. Boy, oh boy. So, okay. All right, here we go. So if we embrace this message, it's going to help us become more fearless. Because it's not about, trust me, you don't have to go become reckless, right? Fearless is not reckless. Yeah. And fearless is not crazy. It just means be more fearless than you are. That's for you. Okay. Let that be filtered through what you're comfortable with. Okay. Amen. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. The 10th house. Okay. So how can we be more fearless? Well, guess what? The 10th house is what we can find out about you without knowing you. It's your career. It's who you are, right? It's like, are you a playwright? Are you an astrologer? Are you a lawyer? What are you? Not how you make your money, but who are you? Professionally speaking. Oh my goodness. Okay. And it's also the status of your public relationships, your marriage. It's deals with mentors and parents. And there was a lot of talk about Madeleine Albright being an amazing mentor. I think Susan Rice talked about that um, when Judy Woodruff interviewed her on KET News, that she was saying what a great mentor she was. This is the house of mentoring. Okay. So if we want to be more fearless, guess what? This is a very public house. It means, yeah, we need to be taking. So if you want a certain job, don't be afraid of saying, oh, I don't know if I can do that job. Or, okay, well, be a little more fearless. Say, maybe you need to take a class. Maybe you need to learn some technology for it, or, go for it. Aries is go for it. So that means go for the job you want. Okay. That is make a relationship more public. Okay. It's like go for it with that energy. Be fearless when it comes to mentor, learn something. All right. But fearlessly pursue more public professional experiences. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's gorgeous. All right. That means, yeah, don't hide. You don't hide when you have 10th house card coming up. That is the most public energy, because people don't have to know you at all. They can just see a video of you and you can influence them. Okay. Okay. Or hear you on the radio. Yep. Okay. Now the second one is, fight for. Okay. If we embrace this energy, it will inspire us to fight for something or someone. Okay. Instead of with. Yeah. We want to fight for something, right? Valuable. Okay. Yeah. Them's fighting words. That's Aries. Okay. Here we go. Ah. Okay. Here we go. I know. I shuffle till I feel like it. So, and I don't always have time to edit out the shuffling. So just here we go. Okay. Amen. Let's embrace this energy, and it will inspire us to fight for. Mercury. I love it. Oh my gosh. Communication. What will inspire us? Okay, to fight for somebody? Yeah, we got to use our words. That means either communicate, right? It's like, yeah, communicate through a speech, through lecturing, write something. This is also write something, write your brief, defending somebody, talk to somebody. talk in someone's defense. It's like I just saw an episode of Maid, and this young woman who's abused, and she's escaping an abusive relationship, and it's so difficult, played by Alexandra Qualley, and she has to get somebody to speak for her. It's like, is there anybody who can defend you and speak for you? This would be an example of that. Is like, is there somebody you need to speak for? Right? Because if you got to fight for somebody, and you got to fight for somebody with Mercury, why don't you, yeah, speak for somebody? That's a way to fight for them, defend them, write something down about, oh, this is, that's what that means. That's gorgeous. I love it. Okay. All right. And I'll take pictures of these and put them on my social media. Okay. Now the third, oh, action. Yes. Aries is action. Okay. So it's about actually doing something. It's not just about thinking or feeling, it's doing. Okay. So if we embrace this energy, this is going to inspire us to actually do something. Yeah, I can think. I got a lot of air. I got a lot of Gemini. If you got a lot of air in your chart, thoughts are so real. I can think that I did something as if I did it. And then I have to be like, oh, really? I didn't send that message? I thought I did. Oh, I thought about it. Okay. So this is like, what can we actually, let's inspire us to actually do something. All right. Okay. If we embrace this energy, it will inspire us to actually do something. Okay, here we go. Amen. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, Libra energy. Look at that. Okay, if we inspire this, it will help us do something. Well, guess what? I haven't talked about Libra ascendant, then your Aries is on your descendant. Okay, if Libra is going to help us do something, guess what Libra helps us do? Fight for justice. Libra is about balancing the scales. It's about equality, demanding equality. All right. So, all right, all right, that's hand in hand. Aries is take actions that bring equality. And all these power plays going on. Oh my gosh. All the inequality going on. So, if we need to take an action, an Aries action, then we need to take an action to actively do something that balances the scales, all right, that brings equality. That means you got to hear different points of view, right? And then you have to be fair. Libra is fair. And so if you really resonate to Libra energy, oh my gosh, injustice drives you nuts. It's like you can lose, but it's got to be fair. You don't like cheating. Yeah. So let's really take action. We can't just think about, oh, wouldn't that be nice to have a utopian world? It's like, let's make it happen. Let's take, and what is the first part? What's the first step in that? Yeah. First couple of steps. We have to have equality, right? We can't have horrible balances of power where we have absolute poverty and then the super wealthy. We have to like, how can we help people, right? Balance the scales. Oh, this is gorgeous. And also, you know, taking Libra actions is diplomatic. It's being diplomatically assertive, right? It's not warrior aggressive clubbing people or hitting, it's not violent, right? Because Aries can be extremely, it's warrior energy. It's extremely aggressive when it's not in balance. So, the actions we should be taking right now to pursue Aries. So it's like to find new ways to do old things. Let's do it through Libra. Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, all right. Oh yeah, faster. Aries is the fastest moving energy in the Western zodiac. So this is also about, okay, if we embrace this energy, how can we move a little bit faster? Yeah. Okay, Taurus is the slowest, and Pisces is a little slow too. So we're just entering into and it's going to pick up once we get the new moon. So let's think about this energy will help us move a little bit faster. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know what? Another thing about Libra, when we think about Libra, we think about looking at all sides. And and I also thought about, because I just saw The Blind Side. I was just remembered that. And that's a movie with Sandra Bullock. And she ends up adopting a teenager who then ends up to being this amazing football player. Okay. But when she was looking into him, he actually had scored very well when it came to protective instincts. Okay. Because, when you're a kid, right, you're tested on, it's like endless testing, right? But he had not been testing well in a lot of areas. And it just reminded me that often we focus on what people can't do instead of what they can. And, and it's, we always need to celebrate people. Like there's always going to be something we can celebrate. And it just, it's like, it just made me think of, Libra is like really looking at all things. It's the balance. It's like, okay, well, maybe he's not good in this, but oh, he has protective instincts. It's like, let's look at the whole picture. And then by focusing on that, by elevating that, he can play football, he has more confidence, and then he develops in other areas. Okay. So that's how that works, right? So that was a really beautiful aspect of really make sure that you focus also on what people can do, and then obviously help whenever what we can't do. But that kid was just dismissed because it was like, oh, low score here, low score there, and it's like, oh, but he was off the charts in this, so let's start there, and then that builds confidence. Okay, so now let's do this and fast. If I were thinking like, yeah, I'm shuffling forever. Okay, here we go. Let's inspire this. And maybe I can pick cards faster. Okay. Oh man. That's my Gemini stream of consciousness. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. We got the fixed energy, but we got it reversed. Okay. So how are we going to do things faster? Guess what? We're not going to give up. I love this card reversed. This is it says it. This is no time to give up. I love that. That's good news. Okay. This is no time to do an about face. All right. But we may need to refine our approach. All right. So, how are we going to do things faster? We do need a refinement, but we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. So, but there is an adjustment. So, that's great. So, all right. So, let's all think about that. Let's think about what are we really trying to do, right? How can we pick up the pace? It's not, you may be thinking, I'm just going to give up. Nope. No give up, no about face. All that's required is a refinement. So let's not overly do we have these course corrections. Let's not do some wild, out of control course correction. Let's just do a refinement. Oh, I love that. Okay, that's good news. I'm going to meditate on that. All right. Oh, patience. Okay. Well, you know what? Because this card did fly out when I was shuffling. So we do need to be patient. Some of us in the group may be wanting to go too fast. Some of us may be exhausted with like they've been going so fast. It's like the engine, it's like, and so we got to be a little patient. So we already got that message. So now we're going to pick a message. If we embrace this energy, it will also help us and inspire us to be a little patient so we don't go too fast. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Looking at these. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's embrace this. I'm going to be a little more patient. Okay. Oh man. Oh, the seventh house. Oh my gosh. Well, and you know what? The first card that popped out was actually the seventh house reversed, which is kind of inequality in relationships. The seventh house is all one-on-one relationships. It's professional, it's romantic, it's a collaboration. Okay. So this is kind of one person is doing too much of the heavy lifting when it gets reversed like this. You got to bring equality back in. But guess what? It came upright. So we got both. We got the whole seventh house. Okay. So if we can do things, if we need to be more patient, then we're not the whole show. When Aries is not in balance, it gets a little selfish. It's the me. It's so individual. It's kind of like, well, get out of the way. I'm going to the top of the line. okay, because it's like first. But seventh is, that's, I feel this. What do you feel? Seventh is Libra energy. Okay. Seventh is, it's two people, right? Need to come together. So you got to put your head with somebody else. It is very verbal and it is air. So so I would say, if we want to be more patient, maybe you're not taking into consideration what somebody else is really thinking or feeling. And that if you really can put yourself in that person's shoes, then you will be able to slow down a little bit or refine your approach and say, okay, I'm not going to be so aggressive. I'm not going to be, maybe it's like some bullying or I know what we should do. So we're going to do this because you're just a passenger and I'm so tired of this. And so we're going to say, well, you know what? Are you making the person a passenger? Are you even giving them the opportunity to contribute? Right? Seventh house is people get to contribute. Okay. This is teamwork. The seventh house is teamwork. Libra is even partnership. Libra seventh house is partnership energy. So it means you don't have to do everything yourself. You can still have a visionary, pioneering idea, but find ways to work with somebody. Okay. And that will give you more patience. So you don't steamroll over anybody. Okay. But that's fascinating. Okay. And then, oh, yes, let's pick a card. If we incorporate this energy, we're going to be able to rejuvenate, because again, Aries, we can just burn ourselves up with all that fire and we're so excited and we're going. Sometimes we need to rejuvenate, and we need to make sure that we keep plenty of nice energy. So, okay. So let me look at that. Okay, so here we go with, how are we going to rejuvenate? Oh yeah, there's a lot of, because I took some notes about, all the systemic sexism and the racism and the cultural imprint and how important all of that is. And, it's Aquarius also, the energy of Aries and Aquarius, because Aries is so pioneering, and combined with Aquarius, it is the energy right now to, to really be yourself. And when we find new ways, and, I do talk about, okay, yes, I've been talking about how difficult that is for women, and even, and even for white women. I've talked about the movie Don't Look Up, and Jennifer Lawrence's character gets sidelined immediately. She discovered the whole asteroid, and she gets sidelined immediately. They said, oh, you're too angry talking about this. And she's in the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he kind of takes over, and they want to just listen from the male. Okay. And so and then I talked about I, Tonya, if you see that, and that is with Margot Robbie and Sebastian Stan. And Margot Robbie, plays Tanya Harding, this amazing ice skater who, but she didn't have the right attitude, right? That's part of cultural imprint. Also, not only do we have our cultural imprint, but we're constantly judging other people, right? And so the energy that we have with Aries and Aquarius is, we need to allow people to question their cultural imprint and to reject it and to create their own, right? We're not supposed to be limited by our cultural imprint. But I do talk a lot about that. But then, on the bigger scale, men have to deal with this too, because I saw Bad Words, this amazing movie. Jason Bateman not only stars, he directed it. It's incredible. He's an adult male, and he does a spelling bee, okay, where they're all children, and people go nuts because they're like, you can't be doing this, you're an adult. And he's not a very nice character, okay. And I mean, I find this character hilarious, but it's not like he's this nice person. He's very uh poker face, acerbic kind of quality anyway. So they were so against him. There was cheating involved, because they were like, we got to get this guy out. And they really did. They gave him the hardest words possible. They were like, oh, he's never going to be able to spell those, and he could spell every one, right? And then they gave like much easier words to the kids. So but it's so anytime, but it's because he went against the cultural imprint of, one, you're not supposed to compete with children. Two, you're supposed to be, not or nice in a very certain way. It was like he wasn't conforming to his cultural imprint, to the expectation, to the societal imprint. So there are huge ramifications, not only when you go against your family imprint, but then the societal imprint. So even if you're a white man, you're going to come up, you're going to struggle when you go against that. And the Aquarius Aries energy together is to say, let us really be as respectful as possible, and remember, people deserve to find new ways to do their life, and to honor that deep, profound originality, because that is the highest manifestation of Aquarius energy, is to be able to say, yeah, I'm not gonna do that one, I'm not gonna do this one, I'm gonna do me. Yeah. So but it made me think of that, because I do talk a lot about uh um because it is such a problem with the systemic sexism and racism. But yeah, you're going to get into trouble going against your cultural imprint, but it's worth it. Well, that fell out, so we're going to keep that one. Okay, that was Earth. Okay, so here we go. My gosh. Oh yeah, how do we rejuvenate? Okay, you know what? Oh my, you know what? We're just going to take this one, because this one is perfect. Oh my God. And they did just go flying. Oh my God. Okay. This one did fall out. Okay. This fell out first for that. And it's perfect. Earth reversed. Well, guess what? If we want to rejuvenate, or anytime you get the Earth in kind of a health question, we forget the Earth is the physical body. Yeah, it's the physical plane. We got to take care of our physical body when we get an Earth card. Okay. And if we want to rejuvenate, you want to spend time in nature, because Earth is the natural world, right? But it is also your physical body. So take physical actions. Look at your diet, look at your sleep schedule. It's go to the doctor if you need to go to the doctor. Okay, so take care of your physical body, connect to nature, and also, sometimes it's like, look at your environment, embrace feng shui or vastu shastra. Okay, because transforming your physical environment can rejuvenate you and help you, so you have that energy to really embrace all that beautiful Aries forward momentum. Oh my gosh. The 11th house also popped out. This is beautiful. This is the friendship house, and this is the hopes and dreams house. So how can we rejuvenate? Connect with your friends, reconnect with them, and also connect to your hopes and dreams. Yeah, it's like, have hope, have hope. Oh, that is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. And then we had some, okay, but they felt that one. Oh, that is beautiful. Boy, oh boy. Okay. Now, all right, we got a couple more. Oh my gosh. Oh yes. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, this is great. What energy, if we embrace, will help us find new ways to do old things? Because we kind of get stuck in a rut, right? And this is like, we want to find a new way. We want to find a new way. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Cards are popping out everywhere. All right, we're just going to take these. Okay, so 2 cards. Guess what? We got fixed, but we got it upright this time. Now, Aquarius is fixed energy. Aries is cardinal. Okay, so if we want to find new ways to do things, and then we got descendant energy. I was talking about the descendant today. The descendant goes with 7th house Libra. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. If that means, if you want to find new ways to do old things, it may be you want to work in a team. You may want to develop a partnership with somebody, and that will help, like, get the opinion from someone else, right? Allow someone else to contribute to what you do. And that may allow a new way in. Somebody could say, well, what if you do this? I didn't think of that. Okay, you can still implement it, and you can, doesn't mean that they have to do it, or they have to do it with you. You may want them to do it with you, but it says teamwork is required. Wow, there's a lot of teamwork energy. That's fascinating, because Aries is the opposite of Libra. Okay, Libra is the partner. Aries is do it yourself energy. So this is really saying, for the group, we may be so connected to the Aries my way, who, get out of my way, I'm going to win. It's so competitive. We may need to make sure that we're forming partnerships and that we're able to work in a team, because you can still be very visionary and pioneering even on a team, right? I mean, Steve Jobs had a lot of Aries energy and total pioneer, but you can, you've got, that makes me think of true believers. Yeah, he always talked about, who's going to be in the garage with them, right? It's like who are your friends when you don't have any money, right? It's like, do they only want you when you have money and you're famous and yada yada yada? It's like, or do you, it's like real questions of that. So this is real questions of teamwork and descendant. That's amazing. I think this is a very ambitious, assertive, powerful group, because we're kind of saying, hey, we got to make sure that we can work with each other. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Okay. And you can have both, right? You can have both, because the Aries is, allow your team to be inspired. Like, be inspired by the Aries in your life, right? And then you can work together, because we all need leadership. Wow. All right. Now, we want to reclaim our agency. All right. What's going to help us to reclaim our agency? Because Aries just gives that, it's the spark. Okay. It's the spark. Let's make it happen. Okay. If we embrace this energy, we are going to reclaim. Yeah. Oh yeah, the true believers. That's right. I saw that on Righteous Gemstones. That's funny. It's really a hilarious show. It's a comedy, and they're sort of dueling brothers, and they each have a group of true believers, and they're very different groups, but we always need true believers. Um, you know, we always need those people who believe in us even when, yeah, not because everybody else thinks we're great, right? It's like, yeah, I love that. And they have a whole David and Goliath thing, but going on there. Okay, which I did a David and Goliath Oracle card spread. You can check that out. That's on my podcast too, which I have Astro Oracle through the lens of astrology. So yeah, if you're into podcasts, you can check that out. Okay, so if we embrace this energy, it will help us to reclaim our agency. Mutable. All right. Survival of the fittest. All right. Some Charles Darwin coming into play. All right. Now this complements fixed when it was reversed. Okay. So if again, it's refinement. We have to be flexible. We have to adapt, right? Charles Darwin said it's the greatest, it's not about being the strongest or even the smartest. You got to be the most adaptable. Okay. So, refinement, when you get mutable, you want to bend like a willow. And except for the Pisces, we don't have mutable energy right now. We've got the cardinal Aries, we've got the fixed Aquarius, and then we've got the Jupiter Pisces. We got Mercury in Pisces for a few more days. Okay. But so we need to be, remember Pisces is the amorphous, no boundaries, but it allows for that refinement. So, the mutable signs. Hey, Gemini is mutable. So that means the mutable signs can step up to the plate. Because remember, when your energy is called, you got to step up to the plate. You got to contribute your gifts to the group, to a project you're involved in, to a relationship, to a group you're involved in. Because remember, one leads to another, right? Each zodiac sign transmutes into the next one. Make sure your step is not skipped. If you're a mutable sign, make sure that people are embracing that mutability, right? If you're a fixed sign, make sure people aren't giving up and throwing in the towel too soon, right? If you're a cardinal, make sure people are doing something and like the, get them going. Okay. So it's like, make sure your step is not missed. Okay. So that means, and Aries and Libra zodiac signs, definitely anytime, whatever the energy is in. So that means Aquarius and Pisces are still called. And then, the different mutable and fixed cardinal. Well, we got all of them. The modalities are very strong. So yeah, you got to step up and make sure your step is not skipped. So, okay. All right. Now we just have a couple of minutes. Let me just see, because I always have so many things. So we're going to talk more about Aries Yeah, in the next couple of weeks because it's all about Aries season. And just, I'm just looking over this. Just make sure that as we go forward, when we're reclaiming our agency and we're helping people that, I love this Bill Maher said, do we give people an anchor or are we really helping them? Just, yeah, make sure that we're really helping and that when we're reforming, that we really are reforming what's really going to help the whole group. And how can we help people? Um, yeah, in a consistent and conscious way. And I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I wanted to address. Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, I'm going to take a picture of all of these. I'm going to put them online. And we really want to, I like to meditate on them. I like to, be really inspired on them. Something else about Madeleine Albright. Oh, I know. Yeah, I want to share this. One of my favorite things is she said, I mean, okay, I don't really believe in hell and heaven, but we're going to use it for this. She said, there is a special place in hell reserved for women who don't help women. And I do have to say, I mean, it's a great quote, and I do love it. We do have to help people, and it did make me think of Mika Brzezinski, and all she does is help women with the Value Project. And I thought, well, okay, there's going to be a special place in heaven for her, and for women who do help women. Okay, and so we do have the systemic racism and the sexism, and so I do feel because of that, yeah, we got to really we do have to we're still in that period, right, where we haven't achieved the beautiful unification. We're striving for it, so let's make sure that we do what we can and really, yeah, really help each other. So that's our show. Until next time, enjoy. And how about fearlessly, yeah, embrace transformation in honor of the spring equinox.